Preservation Committee meeting to order at 6:32.
So do we need a secretary?
Kinda technically, I'm not supposed to preside over the thing and take notes, but
I'll do it.
okay.
Now I have to find some papers you can use.
Here, do you want-
some here. Blank stuff, thank you.
Can I just write on this? You can.
Oh, sure.
Oh wait, I might need to take notes during this though. I need that pen definitely.
As long as I can get it done to keep chat.
And we give people money.
Here we go. Wow.
Actually, we
That's all
don't.
you got to-
We just say it's allowable. The
They're
town
all the
decides to
fuzzies.
vote on it.
Don't worry about the fuzzies.
Okay, so first off is attendance. This is probably a record-setting
Isn't this
attendance tonight.
something?
There are so many of you here. Mary, do you need anyone's names, or do you have everyone's names?
Yes, sir. Have my name. Although it's in the emails. Alice Liddell,
Alice, can you spell your last name again?
Livedahl. And it's just ALICE, the old fashioned way.
You, Dory?
I'm Dolores
Dolores.
Steele, yes.
Dolores, are you a member at large? Or are you history?
I'm
She's
history.
History, okay.
And her last name?
ORDWAY.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm Luciano's granddad.
Oh my God, she was so sweet.
Oh yeah, it says here.
So I don't see anyone from the public here. I'm a little surprised for any comments or questions, but we don't have any. So we can, I guess, pass over that part. We can welcome new members. I wasn't sure if there'd be one or two, because I didn't know if Parks or Conservation Commission would put forward anyone, and they have not been able to yet. So the only new one we have is Alice, who is representing affordable housing. Remember when we had that bylaw change? We made that change so we could bring someone onto the board that could have some expertise in housing. She definitely
The seat
does.
belonged to the housing authority, and we haven't had a housing authority in years.
Did we ever?
We did have a
We
housing
have one,
authority.
yeah.
We did have one.
Isn't that ironic? when
Yeah.
you- Yeah.
I think it was like a 2-member thing, and no one was running for it, and a lot of them were on the planning board, so they just rolled it into one. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened, so. We're glad to have Alice back, and as you can see, which brings us to the next part, pretty much, is the affordable housing grant proposal. So she is hitting the ground running. I don't know if anyone was able to go over the proposal, or,
I can give a short overview if you want.
that would be lovely.
Probably everybody but Mary, I don't know. So, the town owns a gravel pit from years and years and years ago, the 50s, 40s, I don't know, I forgot. But anyway, it's about 14 acres, it's on Pitcherville Road. It it has a lot of sand and gravel left, it hasn't been like scooped out. So, when we were going through, as the Affordable Housing Committee, lots in town to see what the town owns or what we could get by tax title, and we did this big search. It was the one parcel that showed up. And so.
How many acres, I'm sorry? I think it's
14, a little over 14. He said 10 originally, but it's 14
It is
in the-
14, okay.
Yeah. And it has a, I won't get too far in the weeds. I think maybe the reason it's 10 is that mislisted is because there has to be a right of way through it, but it isn't that big. It wouldn't be like 4 acres, so I don't know where that error came from. And somebody has bought, the pit behind it's well over 100 acres and it's just been bought
Oh.
for big housing development.
Oh, boy.
So we were just trying to, also as we had an affordable housing committee, which was a planning board, and then it was spun off, and then it hasn't really done anything. But everybody kind of agreed that probably the worst housing problem in town is, seniors when it comes to lack of affordable housing. And if you know, Claudia in town, she says like there's a 7-year waiting list for the units in
wow.
Hubbardston House, it's really terrible. So, the gravel pit's limited to what we build, but we studied it. And you could put 24 units in it without having to get public water supply certification. So we're sort of looking at this 24 units that would be in so many units per building, and anyway, the zoning would have to be fixed and so on. But I went to the Mass Housing Partnership Conference to find out, how a town really can go about getting something like that off the ground. And they said, went to a couple of different things, it was quite helpful. That you can apply for a technical, a Mass Housing Partnership Technical Assistance Grant. And they will look at the suitability of the site for what you're proposing for housing, which would include things like accessibility to, like Walmart's pretty good, it's a market, and, you know, all those things. And we have done some studies that we've given them, and then they would give us a plan for what would fit, and they help us put together bidding documents for design and construction, and would even, if you get it, walk it through the 41B exception to be able to put, you know, multi-units in a residential zone there. It's actually zoned still industrial, it's zoned for a gravel pit right now, but we have pyramid zoning. So it defaults to housing, and housing's 2 units an acre. But we could do this, but you couldn't do, the other thing good about senior housing is they're small units, 1-bedroom units, and you have to have on-site septic too. And so, it is sand and gravel, it's actually,
Right,
our
that's
expert
right.
thought it'd be very suitable for that. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at, is a grant from the state to get this going. And there has pretty big consensus around the town that people wanna do it, the select board's behind it. I mean, we haven't had neighborhood meetings, but it wouldn't have a big impact, actually, if you
Well,
look
that
over there.
100 one behind it.
The 100 one, yeah,
That
we're
one
a drop in the
sounds-
bucket, we
yeah.
have a little 14. And then one of the other things they've thought of is, you know, the guy who's bought the land behind it really wants to buy it. And I said, you know, if you sell it to him, you might get 1 or 2 affordable units, but, you know, the only people that can build affordable units are the people that build affordable units, who know how to work the
Right,
tax
yeah.
credits and know how to work,
Right.
you know, all those things. So anyway, we're giving it a try, it's no cost to us. Then the big problem with the lot is it has about a 2,000 square foot area that was a sandbank that the police in town used as a rifle range for years and years and years,
Oh,
okay?
boy.
So we have some lead contamination. But out of 14 acres, this may be 1/5 of an acre. And the cost to remediate that is something less than 140,000. And now they have to remediate it because
they know it
we
exists.
reported. I mean, we didn't report, we told them, right,
Yeah.
in our, if we're gonna look at this, but we funded that, initial study.
Yep.
So, I don't think, if it was like a huge cleanup, I know Mass Housing Partnership, they said they wouldn't touch it. So we've tried to minimize that it's only 1/5 of an acre, that it's understudy, that we're getting there. So hopefully it comes through. So, but originally, nobody was taking this on, and I was really upset. We put all that work into it, nobody was gonna do it. So they changed this to CPC to have a housing position. I thought they would give me we as the CPC
And-
could submit the grant, but it's much better than Nate submitting it, because, you know,
Nate's
they
the
really
town
want it.
administrator,
He's the
isn't
town
he?
administrator, right, and he's got a lot more clout than I do, and he can pull people together, and he's done a great job, I think, writing it. We went back and forth on a couple things.
Yeah.
So, you can read it, but that's the story in the nutshell. So all I'm looking for is a vote that we support it. And it doesn't cost us anything, doesn't mean they wouldn't come back at some point to us and ask for something, but, we can
So
pack,
someone like to make a motion to support Nate submitting a grant
Make a motion.
application?
Sure. I'll make a
So
motion.
he's just gonna submit a grant application to us?
Yeah.
No,
No,
to the
to the
state.
state.
to the
Gotcha,
state
okay.
that provides all these services.
Do we
If
have
we
to
get it.
match something, or is it?
Not
Nope,
yet.
there's no
Nothing
spending.
at this time.
Okay.
We just have to support it, cause he wants to go on the record that we supported it, we put the other money up. And they do count on, actually, they look for housing authorities, and they look for affordable housing community, they look for somebody in town that supports affordable housing.
So
But they will take CPC, because they know there's funds there, and the people on this board is supporting.
So Madam Chair, if you would allow me, I'm going to make the motion that the CPC support the town, and specifically the town administrator, in applying for the Mass Housing Partnership Technical Assistance Grant, and to further study and develop plans for reuse of the former town gravel, lot number 57 on Pitcherville Road, for the construction of a new affordable housing units for seniors.
And I'll second
favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Mary, here you go. So it's Francois and Dolores, second.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
Oh, it's all set. Are we closing that one out at this point, because before we go, or is there any more discussion? at
On
point?
this point, on the, grant, we're done with that, but I think we all have a pretty good idea of what the proposal, what the application's for,
Yeah.
how it'd be used. Do you have any other questions about it?
You don't have any idea of
I
the
do.
design of it, how they would?
On the second page
what it would
of
look
the,
like,
No, we're not anywhere near there.
Anywhere near there. We have to get through suitability,
Okay.
but it's probably 24 units.
did anybody
Oh,
else catch in the second paragraph? Cause.
Which, the background and the
Okay,
context?
the very first, this
The
Nate's
letter. The
Okay.
letter,
Nate's
Nate's letter?
It said in 2022, which of course is not ancient history,
Yeah.
it's just a
Right.
couple years ago. And so, you try to stay current with things. The town further appropriated CPA funds for the acquisition and preparation of lot 57 for development. These funds have been critical, blah, blah, blah. And I said, wait a minute, did anybody else say that didn't happen?
I think it did, I remember
Well,
going
but
to a
it's free
meeting.
cash, I looked it up, it was
Oh.
free cash. We had at one point previous.
I have a different version, I think, than you.
Different
This is the one you downloaded, the second
Un-
one.
Under the funding and commitment.
Right here on the second
Oh,
page.
okay, which one is that? I thought you said second paragraph, I'm like, I am not seeing
Next
any of that in
Oh,
the
I'm
second
sorry,
paragraph.
second page.
Okay.
Second paragraph.
I prefaced that, but,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't know
you
what
say,
she's
"Whoa,
second page."
Okay.
Because
There you
it's
go.
going along.
Under funding and commitment.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because in 216, and I think Alice was around at that
So,
point.
I'm trying to remember this,
216, we had 50,000 in the
dollars.
affordable housing for legal expenses and cleanup and everything.
right, 50, that was handed down from 2016, 50,000.
Correct. And that we finally expended that. Remember, we had that big back and forth about whether it was legal or who should be paying this.
But what, okay,
Some of the legal expenses and
Yeah.
what, blah, blah, blah. But finally, that is off our allocation. It's been used up, is my understanding.
what, the 15,000, I think came out of that, or the CP, so what happened, what happened at the end is CPC put in for an ARPA grant, was the last thing that happened, this was right before that.
CPC wouldn't have put in for an ARPA grant.
No, you're right, but,
That was Habitat.
no,
No, okay.
so there was phase one, remember, we paid for.
Well, I wasn't on. till
There was
t-
a study from Bill Murray that originally looked at it, and to design it and do it. And he said, before you do that, you better look at the lead contamination issue. So I'm trying to put it in so we paid for the VHB first study,
There's two phases, phase
right,
one,
and then we
right?
paid for the second study.
We, meaning CPC.
CPC.
Out of that $50,000 chunk.
I think it was out of the 50,000,
Okay.
but I
Because
don't track the numbers like you
in
do.
2022, so I think there were two $50,000 chunks somehow along the way, because this is Article 15, to see if the town will vote to transfer 49,650, which is an odd amount. It's not like just 49,000, so I thought, well, that's interesting. From free cash to pay for the environmental study and implement the remediation of town-owned property, assessors map off, Pitcherville, blah, blah. So that made sense to me, because trying to track the money, which is an interesting job in and of itself.
Maybe that's
Because
what we-
stuff goes
yeah.
on here that you may not know
Yeah,
about,
right.
and whatever. But, not that it's nefarious or anything, but you just didn't know.
So that would have paid for the phase two.
Well, that's what I'm
That's
wondering,
right.
but just so in this document, if Nate would wanna get it absolutely accurate.
Okay, what
We'd need
should
to
I say?
remove the CPA part.
Yeah, the
The town further would
CPA, I
be
said CPC.
Appropriated funds.
Yeah, it was voted
Just
at
take-
town meeting for
take
free
CPA out.
cash. And
The
it's
town-
Article 15 from 2022.
So how would you rate, in 2022, the town voted,
The town further appropriated
the town?
to transfer 49,6, you wanna see this? This is the article. To transfer from free cash. So somebody else had some skin in the game,
Do we
which
need
I
to
think
make-
is a good
Mhm.
thing.
Do we need to make it as in-depth as that, or can we simply say in 2022, the town further appropriated funds?
I think you could go with that because we could give the state backup if they come back to us and say exactly
I
what
think
they
that's
want.
how did you do that?
But just so
So we just need to take out the
We're
CPA
Yes,
that
I
we
agree with
because
you.
otherwise it looks like, wait a minute, there's $50 here,
$100,000
$50
to add in there.
Oh.
Okay, so
And
we're
that's all
just
for studies,
take the
which
word CPA
sometimes
out.
irks some people.
for
I'm one of them.
appropriated funds for the
A million
acquisition
studies.
and preparation of lot 57.
7.
Okay, so that was the ARPA funds that were used, that was 50,000, was the last payment, right? In 2022?
Free cash, wherever that came from, I don't know. See, that's one of those
Yeah.
things that I was not aware of.
Oh, this was town free cash.
Right.
That's what
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Yes, that's what it was.
Cause ARPA funds I thought was specifically
Oh.
to the
ARPA didn't
Habitat
even
House or
happen,
something.
Well, yeah, I guess it did.
No,
2022.
ARPA funds did not go to Habitat, Habitat was completely closed out by the time ARPA arrived.
But I
So
thought you guys
what-
had applied for ARPA funds for that.
Well,
Or thought about it.
it's,
It was,
it's a moot
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
it was for 57, it was
Okay.
for this lot,
Oh, it
I'm
was for
sure
this
of
one.
that.
Okay, well, just so it's accurate, because,
But it may have been, we did this 50, probably out of free cash, and then they
Well, that's
additionally
what
did
the
the
article
ARPA.
says.
Cause there's a 3-phase thing, so that was probably phase 2, and
okay,
then the third is this whole cleanup.
the third is to be determined, right? Right, I mean, that's the actual cleanup money.
Yeah.
I saw the figure 148
It's
somewhere.
148 was to get, so the first one was to put in the monitoring wells and see where it leaks, it was to test the soil.
Yeah.
Soil tested positive,
So
the
that's
second one
phase
was to
one?
put in the wells, see how far it spread. And then the third one was to come up with a remediation plan, what it would cost, whether to encapsulate it, dig it out, and how much it would cost to treat it, and that's the 148 that we're missing.
Yeah, that's the number I think we all, are.
So that has not been paid and the town's looking for it.
And there's a fine every year, it's not that big, but
Yeah,
still.
4,300 for every year for
Something, yeah.
non-compliance.
But we're sort of throwing it out the window until
Yeah.
we either
Yeah.
move forward
But
or-
actually, they knew that, I mean, it wasn't a gotcha moment, they said, we've gotta do it anyway,
Yeah,
so the hope was we,
Pen died, do you
Oh,
have
I have-
another one? I have, sorry.
I
we,
grabbed
the
mine.
MHP money will not help do
Make
that,
sure that
but
one
what
ends
it
up
will
not
do
somewhere.
is open up like for, if that's the way we wanna go, brownfield grants and that kind of thing, because you have a proposed use that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the town, we could cobble together those funds.
in the whole
In some
picture,
way.
148,000 isn't that much money.
Right.
To CPA, it is a lot
Right.
because we don't bring in that much.
Well, plus CPA we couldn't fund that anyway.
Oh.
I guess we could for affordable housing. I guess we could try.
If,
We did
and the
fund some-
town
we did
clearly
fund
knows
that
it
one.
though,
We
right?
had an opinion from them for the phase 1
Yeah.
study.
No, because it's be using for
Right.
affordable housing, I think.
But I don't think, I mean, I think there's other,
Well, there's no application, so don't have to worry about that
yeah,
either.
and that's,
So-
we can kinda cross that bridge.
But
when we
it's a
come to it.
gigantic step in the right direction.
It is.
And the timing with having you, because she has such a good background in all this, I'm not saying it's easy, but she's got
No,
a
we
good
couldn't
background
get-
because
Couldn't
it's
get
very,
anybody any better than you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just, you need to
It's-
go and sit at their state, somebody had to go to the
Right.
housing partnership. And not only just be there, be a visible, shake the
Yeah.
hands and get the card, so I'm trying to set it up,
yeah.
so we'll get it, so, it doesn't
Fingers
cost us
crossed.
money, it'd be a huge fine, it'd be like, $100,000.
Definitely helps on the way, anyway.
So, yeah, I think,
So is there any further discussion on the grant app?
So the next step would be, we've
I'll just
approved
take-
it, and Nate then goes to this organization, right?
Yeah.
Is that-
Yeah, we'll just let, I'll write a note, or Susan, Alice, do you wanna write a note to Nate saying
yes,
please?
take out the word CPA funds,
Sure.
just the town appropriated.
Town free cash.
Yes.
So
It was free cash.
Hubbardston did have, a CPA project in 2022 for, the project name was the Affordable Housing Program. And it said the planning board will develop an application process and facilitate the establishment of an affordable housing program to assist the town in meeting the state goal of creating 10% of the town's housing units pursuant to MGL C408B and 20 eligible for inclusion of the DHCD subsidized housing inventory. That might be where he
That could be where it is.
where he got confused.
Yeah,
Does
Just,
that say
yeah.
what the funding is for that?
There was no funding
Oh,
for
that
that
was
because that
just
would have
a-
come from the
It was
planning
just
board,
spun off from the
board's
planning board.
basically,
Yes.
well, they say
cementing it.
CPA funding 50,000.
we did give 50,000, there
Yes.
was a $50,000 CPA funding, now, is that the
Right.
same one from 2016, just keeping carrying over?
No,
No, this was a separate one.
yeah, it was separate.
What year was that?
2022.
2022.
There was money from CPA in 2022 for that? 'Cause
No,
this-
for what I just described, not
Right.
for what Nate, I think, like I said, I think Nate got got confused,
Confused
cause
as
they
to what-
probably went to this
Well, if it was
website,
2022, it's.
went looking for all of the CPA housing
Right.
programs.
Well, I think they
saw
actually
them.
pulled them off of the CP, the
The site?
Community Preservation, or CPA site.
Yep.
For the Hubbardston projects for affordable housing, and there were 2 or 3 of them in there.
Right,
And it would've listed the dates that they would have been in.
yep, that's where I
Yeah.
went.
I think that's
found it,
right,
so-
with me, the Affordable Housing Committee was behind that.
Yep.
As opposed to CPC, I remember talking to him and saying, I don't think, unless we've got a commitment to do affordable housing there, we should be putting in that kind of CPC funds, the
Mm.
first study was less.
Right.
And
Well, there
he-
was
and
something-
and then he got the ARPA, but you had to get still an appropriation vote to spend the
Spend the
ARPA,
money,
I think,
yeah.
so I think that's what
I
happened.
don't know
But
what
there
to
was,
tell you
but
about
there
that.
was,
Yeah.
one of
It's
the
in
parts of the
Community
50,000 was also supposed to be
Preservation
used to like try to buy deed
Coalition
restrictions, so people had to keep their homes affordable and there's
none
all
of
kinds
it
of
was
ideas
completely
tossed
either,
around
'cause
to
if
try to
it-
make
if
that
it was
happen.
But it
state
did
gets
fund all the
one,
tax
instead it gets
foreclosures.
Mhm.
one,
So for
whatever.
example, that 11-acre
That's
part,
not
whatever it
bad.
is, the parcel on,
True, but again, like I
Yeah,
said,
the other
that's
parcel
where
we
he got
considered.
it.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
South Street
But I'm
Road.
thinking, maybe we can work with, if people really wanna keep that for environmental, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, it has a value, the town could just auction it off,
Right.
is that maybe we can horse trade and try to help them out with 148, but that's a discussion for another
Another day.
time.
So
We're
you're
just
ta-
trying to get the application.
You're talking about the one that's off Streeter Road.
Streeter, yeah.
New, Old Westminster Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Streeter,
And Westminster Road.
yeah, I'm saying the town could
Yeah.
sell that, like they sold the lots on Ragged Hill.
Correct,
But
because
nobody
it was-
wants it to be sold, so I think it's gonna wind up
Well, nobody wanted it.
to be
for the
housing
pur-
either.
For the type of housing that we were originally thinking.
So this was not an
affordable housing.
anticipated conversation, and I'm gonna steer us back to
Just
the
steer us back.
review
Yes.
of the CP3 report.
But we have that corrected, right?
We do,
Yes,
yep,
yes,
sorry.
We do
yes,
now.
I will get it to Nate.
So the CP3 report, I'm gonna have to go in and fill that out. Are there any projects, I mean, did you make a list of projects?
All we've done is pay debt
Right.
and do our
So it's the
estimate.
existing, well, the open
Which our
space,
estimate was
the open
pretty
space
dead
one,
on.
we just approved, and you guys got the grant,
Yeah, but that's for.
but it has to go on the CP3 report.
Can we put that, what year are you doing it for, 23? Calendar year 23 or
Um,
calendar year 24?
I usually just put whatever we have active at the moment,
Well, that's one that was passed.
so that was passed.
So the Mass Trails grant
Yeah.
out of open space. And then, we finished the library debt, which was good, it's so nice to
That's what I was
wrap
looking
that
for,
up.
is what ones are closed and completed?
Pardon?
I was just looking for ones that were closed and completed. Some of them, sometimes you carry over and carry over and carry over because projects don't get finished, like the baseball people, I don't know if they finished their thing yet.
I was gonna ask about that, but we don't have a representative from rec.
We don't have
because
parks right now, so.
That could go right back into open space and.
Yeah, so we gotta figure out about the bid, but that's another, can be just carried over for now until we meet up again.
And we're halfway through the playground.
Yep.
Oh, that's
You know,
pretty good.
We have fiscal 24 already allocated, and then there's 25, and then 26, and we're done.
Well, alright, so that pretty much takes care of that.
But there really is nothing else, right,
I
guys?
don't think so.
We're
I
sort
really,
of in a-
I've been trying to go through, old meetings and minutes and stuff to look for any project that may have just not, I mean, yeah, no, there's nothing.
The library, have you, wait a minute, when did the new signage, no, I put that in the report the year before.
Hmm.
I get mixed up with fiscal year and calendar year sometimes. Has some of,
I would have to look back at my, the budget versus, actual.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I just did the financials for the library trustees, so, their annual town meeting. They have put out the bid for the brickwork and for the foundation. The foundation came back way higher than
Yeah.
they anticipated, so they're shrinking the
Footprint of
project, so
that, yeah.
it'll just be the really bad section that needs to be addressed. So I'm hoping that those will be taken care of by the next time we have to do a fiscal year.
So then we'll keep you open for right now, because you're not technically completed.
What about the, first floor rehab interior?
I'm
There's
still-
17,000 that's
Yes, we're
been
trying-
since 2020, so it's not ancient.
I was gonna ask you guys about that, because I didn't know about that.
That's so
I knew about it, but I didn't know about it, so I know about it, but I don't know what I can do on the first floor that will that's part of the CPC,
It
'cause
was-
I didn't write that.
It's whatever you applied for is what you can do.
And I
then
don't
you
know
can't
where the
make any
application
change.
is, do you
Oh,
know?
I can grab an
If
application
you
and
get a
send it over to
copy
you.
of it for me, then I
Yeah.
can start.
Cause we
checking
ran
things
into
off.
that, when that project went through, there was some thought that they could do work in like the town office spots.
Mhm.
They were
Um,
painting or something downstairs, wasn't
Right,
that
and
request? And we said,
I don't think that was
no.
particularly popular when I was like, no, cause it's not,
Right.
you know, but like the exit signs and stuff, you could do those because that was bringing it up to code, there were
Safety,
things
right.
like you, like,
Yeah, we did that.
yeah, lighting, I think in the children's room was changed.
That was one of the things we wanted to do, but I wasn't sure what.
You didn't do it?
The lighting, well, the emergency lighting, the exit signs.
No, there was like
the
a
changing
lighting, it's
The
the lighting itself.
changing the lights from, well, that was the Green Community Grant, that wasn't you.
I will find the
Tom
application,
indicated that,
but-
you know, we wanted to replace the lights in the children's room.
Yeah.
And I didn't wanna do anything until I actually found
I'm-
out what I can and can't do.
I'm pretty sure that
'Cause if
was
I
in the
can't-
application,
Okay.
that the children's room lighting was part of the application.
Okay.
When Connie came that evening, the whole point was, before we go ahead and do these things, we need to have an overall plan, because you don't wanna do something and then find out it was the wrong thing, because this really needed to happen first. That was the main takeaway. Does
No,
anybody remember
you're
Connie
talking
being-
about the architectural preservationists that they had come in.
Okay, well-
Went up through the whole building and said, these are the things that need to be fixed. Did I bring a copy of it? No, but I will bring it next time. And, it's the foundation, there's a crack in the stairwell leading up to the second floor. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, and she addressed all of them.
Okay.
So now they have a game plan, they at least have an indication as to what they should work on first, so that they don't have to undo that work to
Exact, that
do
was
it.
her point, you know,
Right.
that's why the 20.
You know, the problem is that we're reacting to things that are
Yeah.
issues, and we
And you
didn't
wanna be proactive, yeah.
we wanna do it in an orderly fashion, so we don't have to undo
Right.
stuff.
So these numbers are still good then, 17 for the
Yes.
interior and 20 even for
Yes.
the brickwork, which could make a dent in it at least, even if not the whole thing.
The brickwork original application, if I understand correctly, was for repointing the bricks. I don't know if you go ever walk around the building, but
It's
there's
this
mortar.
corner that's the worst, right?
Yeah,
that's what,
the mortar is disintegrating,
Yeah.
and they need to fix that. And that's what that money was earmarked for.
okay.
Issue is that a lot of businesses don't wanna do a $20,000 job.
It's too small,
It's too small.
isn't that interesting?
It's not worth it to them, you know, they
Oh,
just
that's too bad.
yeah, so I mean, when they did the foundation bid request, one company showed for it.
I guess that's the one you
Yeah.
took, or will take.
Well,
What do you do?
Like I said, they're revamping it because it came in much higher.
And while we're here, and since she's the library person, what about if we come up with a policy when it's a multi-invoice sort of thing, which this could be, maybe some company does the first part and somebody else does. The person that is closest to that project is like the administrator of that project. In other words, the open space thing, I was kinda like the liaison for
Mhm.
Mark. He came, did his thing,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm glad it was supported and we're excited about it. But for something like the library, cause these invoices come in and you don't know, you know, what,
Well,
where is-
generally, like when we have a project like, any other project, the folks running, like folks who are asking for the money,
Mhm.
they are the ones that verify that that things were done and they bring it over to us and then we submit it to the town to pay the bill.
I know,
So
but-
they have their own project, basically project managers. CPC doesn't
Well, then
assign a
how
project manager to
do,
it.
cause, and I'm not saying I'm dying to get involved, but that's kind of the point of being the tracker, because these things happen behind the scenes, and then I don't know about them until.
Well, you should be seeing the invoices,
Well,
cause you're the
that's what I'm
treasurer.
saying, if somebody, like when the library does this work, and you're right there, you're seeing it happen, you know who's doing what. If you could give, alright, then me a heads up, you know,
Just
give
forward
yourself
you-
a heads up to tell me.
Forward you a copy of the invoice.
Yeah, just, oh, this
Yeah,
is.
cause generally, I mean, the warrant has to be signed by
Right.
a CPC member to say
Eventually
to
it
spend the
winds
money,
its
like
way
the
down.
one that we had for the dues. I had to come in and sign for that. So
Right.
that's how all CPA project monies should be being handled. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, Mike.
How's it going?
That's the only way to actually know.
Yeah, but sometimes there's a lag, but yes, that
There should never be
worked
direct billing. If
That
somebody
voucher
from here
needs
should
to
be
be-
aware of it.
through the money tracker and then
Right.
whoever the head is at that point.
Yeah, so maybe Sandra unfortunately is not around right now, but maybe she was doing that and just not sharing it.
It just seems like there were
But no.
surprises and there shouldn't be.
No, there shouldn't be.
So, okay,
So that's cleared.
so these are things to watch for soon,
Alright, so,
in the near future.
just to make sure that I understand correctly,
Give me a
we-
buzz. And then,
well,
go ahead.
thanks. I bid out work, someone comes in, they do the work, they give me a bill, I send it to you, and you take care of it.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
the phase one and then
That's
send it
all I
on
need
to
to
you.
do.
Yeah,
And then that works.
yeah, because you guys can't, CPC, we are supposed to have oversight of the money that taxpayers agree to spend, so
Right.
that was one way to control that, you know.
Got it?
I don't think anyone's playing dirty with it, but, you know, that's normally how it goes.
Is that different though, the foundation fund, could that be part of this too? I mean, one says foundation, one says brick repair.
They're two separate ones.
Okay.
If you.
But I mean, it's money-
We had an engineer report, we didn't have to pay for it, for
Nice.
the issue of the foundation. So we know that the foundation is bad, it needs to be fixed.
Mm.
So that's why that hasn't been touched, cause we didn't have to pay him. When the bid went out, it came in at over $100,000 to fix the foundation.
That's the one, okay, so
So-
8 is like a drop in the
You
bucket.
know, would I like to spend it? Sure. Can I spend it? No. 'Cause-
So at this point, do we just hang on to this indefinitely and then
No,
you,
Nate is put out an RFP for bids for the foundation in a modified form, so it won't be as expensive as what the other, the one bid that we had came in for.
okay,
So we're expecting it to be less and we're expecting it to be a little more doable. So that will go away. We will send you, we'll have the work done, we will send you the invoices.
and this 8 could be part of that then, is that what you're saying?
It probably will be more than, it'll be, that 8 will go away and we'll still have to find some other funds for paying for it, so.
Because technically it needs to be finished before we pay, but right?
Yeah, usually,
So, just, we all know it's there, we know you're in process. So that takes care of everything but Curtis Recreational Field.
Yeah.
And that's not mine.
The library's a big building, we get
It
it.
is.
alrighty, so we're done with that. Next thing up is, do y'all remember how we're supposed to have an annual hearing? And I believe you were the only one that went to the annual hearing last time. So we are supposed to have one every year, where we, you know, give out information about this, what the CPC and CPA does and how to get projects in and all of that nifty stuff. So we need to come up with a date for that. Anyone have any good dates in mind?
When do we have the, when do we have
I
to do
don't
it?
remember when we had it last time. I think we actually had it in the summer last time, but that didn't happen this year. So.
Yeah, we did, what was it, August?
When do we have, I mean, I know we have the special town meeting, which we're not gonna get into that, people. But, when is our, do we have a fall town meeting other than this special?
There's a fall town meeting typically, the one that we have on August 22nd, I think it's just a special one.
Yeah.
That's most likely we'll have another one in the fall,
October.
because it's.
So it's in October, right?
That's
what it
So what if we
seems
did the
to be.
hearing sometime like towards the end of, or middle of September, that way if anyone had anything that they, well, no, they wouldn't have time to put any application in between that and the town meeting really, but.
Sure, but, they wouldn't need to put in an application, isn't it just, this is what we do?
Yeah, this is
kind
what we
of
do,
thing,
this is
right?
how we do
Yeah,
it type of
the
thing.
school budget got finalized this year, right? Usually they call a special meeting just to, mostly around the school budget,
Yeah, no, I think that's
but
been, I
that got
think that was
settled this
okay.
year.
Yeah,
So there may not be a fall.
Alright, so.
there may be other items that
That
fall into the
accumulate,
town
yeah.
meeting for the fall, so we'll see.
So do you guys wanna do you wanna plan on, cause there's requirements for the Community Preservation Committee annual hearing, there's got like special line, like ads that have to run 2 weeks before. So we need to pick a date so that I can let them know when we have to run. So what day?
would we be having our own meeting or would we be
We're
attaching
hosting
ourselves to something?
sort of.
No,
is
we would
what
just
the
be
idea.
holding our own meeting, and
Okay.
it basically it's just a,
Like a hosting.
because people are, you know, because it's a tax, people
Right,
every year are supposed to be made aware of it and what
Right.
we do and how we do it and what the tax is and all that nifty stuff.
But nobody shows up. I finally got the message. I'm not saying you're nobody, Mike, or the Rick and Tim and you. We had 3 people. One
Yeah.
of them was my husband, 2 other people in open space.
But people listen,
Mhm.
but people listen.
Do they?
You'd be surprised how many
Well, did
listen
we
to the
record
planning
that?
board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
we had it
all right.
recorded.
Okay.
they'll listen to the record, so
So-
it's not a waste. Yeah.
So what day of the week works best for most?
Thursday.
Thursdays work best for most.
Oh, well, for me.
And what day,
And it is Thursday.
and Chris, what time does the library close on Thursday?
It closes at 7, but Ann is there, so I can leave early, which is why I was still late, but I was here
You were
not
closer to
quite
the-
as late as it was the last time.
Oh, well, that's all right.
yeah, but a meeting at 7 would be okay.
Okay, so you wanna do like a Thursday at 7 in September, so, oh, look at that, I have a lovely upcoming appointment.
Where would we have it at school?
No,
Or
we
here?
would just have it here.
Oh, okay.
You wanna do, when does school start?
The
I
28th,
don't even know.
When
When?
is it?
August 28th.
Are you
Okay, so those
kidding?
little buggers are already back way long before that.
Oh, those poor
They
things.
always
So
do that
19th or
Thursday
26th?
before. Actually,
I
I'm
cannot do
sorry.
the 19th.
So the 26th?
Sure.
And that gives plenty of time for me to figure out the wording that for the ad that has to run about this hearing.
That's the day before the townwide. Oh, that's not this. Okay.
9/26 is what
Yeah.
we're looking toward.
Yeah.
Thursday at 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, 26.
And that should work. Was there anything else?
So we're still needing somebody from which board? then?
We need someone from
Con-
Conservation Commission and we need someone from Parks.
So Sandra's not doing it?
Sandra, the last I heard, was not actually on Parks, but she may be on Parks now.
Oh.
I'm not really sure
I know
where
she
that
was doing a
stands.
lot of traveling, so
She's
I-
doing a ton of
Yeah,
travel.
which is, that's
Yeah.
neat.
So,
But,
yeah, so we have two boards, you know, 2 spots that could be filled that aren't. But we've got an affordable housing expert,
Yes,
so we're
we
good
do.
there.
Wow. who's already been to a meeting for those that came in late. I mean, very impressive start.
And Mary, you probably would like to get this gentleman's name so you can write down in the minutes that he is here.
Mike, what is your last name?
Stoll, S-T-O-L-L.
I spelled his name wrong when I was doing minutes before. I had an E. And since you came in a little bit late, did you have any public comments or questions?
I will make one, Mike Stoll, 5 Lombard Road. I thought I would help you out with your annual meeting when it was last year. So I looked at the minutes and agendas, and meeting minutes, and they're blank for 23. 22 and 23, or at least 23. So I can't look back. And I also went to the annual reports, thinking that, okay, it'll mention it in the annual report, also missing for 2 years.
No, they're on there.
Maybe it
Well,
was
Oh, no,
COVID.
that's open
COVID
space, but
time.
I have them. I can send
Oh, I'm
them to
not,
you.
this is common with our website,
Yeah. The website
doesn't
information that
have
is advertised to be there, and it's not there,
Yeah.
but it's somewhere, but it's not,
That's not been there.
you
Well, there's
don't
been,
find it.
there's been a fair amount of changeover in
Yes,
parks
yes,
offices and the
exactly.
rest. And I think all of us are guilty of, it's recorded, it's there, you know what I mean? You
Okay.
can find it. But the hearing, I think actually the last time when we had the hearing, and I don't remember the date that we had it, but it should be on the calendar anyway. I don't think we got quorum. I don't think enough people showed up from our committee.
That was
Oh, that
me.
happens, yeah.
I was there.
You were there, right?
Mhm.
And Sanda and.
No, I don't think Sandra was
Yeah,
there.
she was.
Oh, she came in late maybe, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm always here.
And so that was 4.
Yeah.
So is our committee 7 or 9?
What is it for?
Quorum is 5, I think, cause I think it's 8.
Okay, so I guess we did.
No, it must be 9, must be an odd number.
Cause we're 7 and we have 2 vacancies, so
You're
it's
right.
total of 9.
9, yeah.
And then there's that thing is, why do I always bring up the difficult things? I'm sorry, but it's just, which is it? And nobody ever quite has the answer. Do you go by who actually shows up, or the original number you're supposed to have.
the number you're supposed to have.
The
And
number
then we've
you've asked.
got that answer, we've
Yeah.
gotten that answer from legal quite a
Okay.
few times, so it's,
Alright,
it's how
so
many are on the board.
tonight, we're good.
We're
Very
well
good.
into quorum.
We're very good,
Yeah,
but some
and
other
at
times-
five, if there's 9, 5 is quorum,
Yeah.
so, but 4 would not be.
You know what, I'm gonna send those to the town clerk tomorrow, or resend them,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a bugaboo, because once it didn't even get into the hard copy one. How does that happen? You know, you send it in, and it never showed up. I was, yeah, after you put work into it, I was annoyed, but anyway, okay, thank you for bringing that up, looks like you have something else to say.
Yes.
I could tell.
Yeah. People usually can. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Just to clarify my earlier comment about the annual reports, I see on the website here that 2020, 2021, and 2022 are here as PDFs, but there are none subsequent to that, so nothing for
23.
23.
Well, that's now, that's
23 is missing.
23,
right, so
not 24.
we probably had, you know, okay, so I'll send it to the new town clerk.
Yeah.
Because it was in the report, the actual, it's there,
Mm-hmm.
but it just never made it to the website.
To the website,
Yeah.
apparently. And,
Oh, there's more.
It's the
although,
SPF.
yes, there's more, there's
Okay.
always more.
Okay.
No. Although I agree with the general comment that usually you have an odd number so that the
The vote
the
doesn't get
quorum,
stuck.
yeah, you can't have an even split. I do believe we have a committee in town that has a even number, and I happen to sit on it, so that's why I know it and I questioned it. And I see Alice
Yeah.
squinting up.
It doesn't pass if you split the vote.
Correct, I'm just saying it can be a tie vote,
Yeah.
and the
And that
result
goes
is,
down in
doesn't,
flames, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's theoretical, but with that certain
I
group-
believe you sit on that.
I do too, and I
Yeah.
think most of the time, there's pretty much harmony. I mean, there's certainly
Well,
room for
it
dissent, but-
it doesn't matter if there's harmony enough, as long as you have the quorum amount that is
Yeah.
required,
Yeah.
which would be 5 on an 8-person
And
committee.
attendance in that group is usually pretty good too.
Yeah,
It's a pretty
yes.
big group.
Yeah, yes, but it's odd that we have that
Yeah.
many people and that we have an even number, it just
Yeah.
baffled me, which is why I know it, as I looked it up.
So I think it makes a lot of sense for us to take a look at the CPC website. There's a lot of things that are still not up to date. I mean, even the fact that Alice is here has not been reflected.
No, and I know I talked to Nate about the bylaw change, that hasn't been posted yet.
There's-
And this is not uncommon.
Right,
And again,
it's
not
not
something-
anything
and it's not unique-
nefarious, it's
not
just a-
unique- yeah, it's not unique to the
And
CPC.
how about re-upping? You know, I think I'm in 24. Does that mean I have to do it by the end of the calendar year, 24?
The clerk usually contacts when you have to come up, because it should have a date
Mhm.
of
It
when you're
should
due.
be fiscal year.
You're into June 25,
I am?
yes.
I
don't
wondered
remember
about those
doing
dates too.
anything.
That's what it says on here. It
Yeah.
says that we're June 20.
You know, it's funny, cause I
25.
looked online, I looked at at that on our website recently to make sure every one of us were
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
active, because it would have been sad if we started doing votes and I found out later that you weren't supposed to be on the
Mine-
committee, you know?
Mine is incorrect because it is only on an annual basis.
I don't think mine's correct either.
That's 2 years, isn't it?
No. It's every year because we are.
No, mine is,
we're
I actually
appointed
did
by
swear
our-
in last year, cause I'd swear in for that and for affordable housing, so
You
mine's
have
still
to do
good.
separate swearing in, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah. What were you saying?
No, the planning board, a member who is part of this committee gets assigned once a year. So I'm assigned until 2025, and that is it. And then next year, if I decide to participate in this again, I will be then to 2026.
So it sounds
It's
annual.
all, it's annual.
Because the board could put someone else from his board into
Exactly.
here.
So we just need to make sure this just gets properly reflected.
I understand that.
Does this affordable housing have to go to town vote?
No,
Or is it
it's just,
doesn't?
it's literally
Is
a
it-
grant application, it costs no money, so there's no taxes
No.
involved, it's submitting the grant application and hoping to get the grant.
How did you know about this organization, or did Nate say, oh, there's this workshop, and Alice
No,
said,
no,
Oh,
Mass
Alice
Housing
knew about
Partner-
the
Yeah, they knew
organization.
about it from Planning Board, Mass Housing Partnership.
Excellent.
Alright, so
But it was in Worcester this year, so it was too tempting to go, you know, it's
Yeah,
usually
it's
out
right
like
there.
Martha's Vineyard or
I-
something.
And you chose not to go there?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So do we have anything else that we need to discuss that's not reasonably anticipated by the chair?
I think he had not finished.
Oh,
No, if you're gonna give another public comment opportunity, I'll hold it till then.
no, you can have as many public comments as you'd like.
Okay.
I
Well,
think we're done with our
just
agenda, so I just was,
I just wanted to do it at the appropriate time. Mike
Okay.
Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. How many are on this committee?
9.
There's
So-
9, but today there's only 7.
Oh, we have 7
Two
present.
vacancies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just verified that on our website.
Yeah.
All the rules are there, haven't read them all, but if
Well,
you
the rules,
use.
the bylaw has changed, so.
That's what
gonna
I
have to-
heard earlier you mentioned, that there's been an update, but it hasn't been made formally, is that what?
Oh, no, it was voted on at town meeting.
Oh, well,
It's
okay.
actually under review of the Attorney General's office now, which is
Oh.
what happens whenever
But
a
it did get
law.
voted,
Hmm?
right?
It
That
did get voted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it just can't be,
Published yet.
It can't be
published until
the AG comes back and says
till
that,
the
yeah,
state
it's legal.
review is done.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
wording is right and, like,
Right.
you know.
But we know it's legal because, CPA in Boston
Yeah,
was like,
right.
yes, you can do that, you know?
Okay. Well, that's good,
Yeah,
thank you.
That's a wonderful website, if you haven't checked it out, it's just, if you wanna just roll through and see what other towns are doing, and it's really
What's the website?
very informative. CPA Coalition.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
do we have any other CPA, CPC related matters to discuss? Seeing none, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, so that was effective, so I will send you a reminder about the, hearing date and we'll be good.
I'll send this note to Nate.
Yep, that'd be
We're all
great.
set.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool, guys, thanks for everybody showing up on this rainy night.
And
May
much
she
cooler
shut
than I
us
thought.
off?
I don't know